Welcome to a chair yoga practice. To begin, obviously, you'll need a chair, but please make sure it's a chair without any arms. Also make sure it's a nice, firm, sturdy chair that you feel safe and comfortable in, because of course we need to use the chair to help support us. Also, if you're not able to touch the floor with your feet when you sit all the way back, like me, please make sure you have some blocks or towels to place underneath your feet, so that when you are seated in the chair, ideally you're looking to have a 90-degree bend in your knees. So once you have supported your feet appropriately, and you feel that you're able to sit up nice and tall with a nice long spine, take a moment to choose whether you feel more comfortable with your palms facing down, resting on your lap, or even palms facing up in more of a receiving gesture. Allow your shoulders to relax away from the ears and close your eyes. The first few moments of our yoga practice is meant for us to transition from the external world to the internal world, to our inner being. Sometimes we also call these first few moments of the practice as a tuning in time, checking in time. It's very important to begin our practice with just a few moments to see how we're feeling today. And to also give ourselves permission to honor how we feel today. You have already done the hardest part, and that is you've shown up. You've set aside these few minutes to dedicate to yourself, to your well-being, to your health, to your practice. Take a moment now to observe your breath, allowing the breath to find its natural rhythm. Taking a moment to observe now how you feel. How does your body feel today? Do you feel some tension in your shoulders? See if you can relax that release, even if it means maybe you bring your shoulders all the way up to the ears and then you just drop it down with an audible sigh. Let's try that just a couple more times. That actually felt really nice. So inhale, bring the shoulders all the way up to your ears and just let it drop with an audible sigh. Do that as many times as you feel you need to find some release in your shoulders and your neck. And then come back to the breath. Now begin to blink your eyes open and bring yourself closer to the edge of the chair. And you might find that when you're at the edge of the chair, you don't need the blocks or your towels. But again, if you're sitting at the edge of the chair, take a look at your knees. Are they in this 90-degree bend that I'm asking you for? And are you able to elongate through your spine? This is called seated Tadasana. Seated Tadasana. Nice neutral alignment of the spine. Shoulders are still relaxed away from the ears. Feel the rooting into your chair through your tailbone and your sits bones. And feel the lengthening up through the crown of your head. So imagine that the crown of your head is reaching up to the ceiling, as if you have a string right attached at the top of your head, but also a string at your tailbone, and you are lengthening. Take a moment to notice if your pelvis is tilted forward and you've got an arch in the back. If you do, then tuck the pelvis under, tilt your tailbone down as you bring your belly button up towards your sternum. Check in with your breath again. Please don't hold your breath. Remember, our yoga practice is all about the breath, not so much about the postures, even though those postures are important. Really, it's our breath that we need to stay connected with. Focus on breathing all the way down to your belly, allowing your belly to expand with every inhalation and return back to its normal position with your exhalation. So expand and contract. Feel the lengthening happen through the vertebra as you inhale, and feel the vertebra moving back towards each other when you exhale. Close your eyes just for a moment. See how that feels. This is again called seated Tadasana, or seated mountain pose. It's an active pose. Take a few more breaths on your own. Let's say about 3 more breaths. Close your eyes and I'll cue you through as you just continue to breathe, reminding you to breathe all the way down to your belly, to your diaphragm. Inhale and lengthen up through the crown of your head, relaxing your shoulders. Can you see, or can you feel rather, if your chin is parallel to your chest? And then now begin to blink your eyes open. Moving on to our next posture, it's called seated cat-cow. And this is where we're going to get some flexion and extension into our spine. It's very important that we move our spine in the directions it's meant to move, keeping our spine healthy and flexible. I'm going to turn to this side so that you can see the actions, and I'm going to ask you to do. Of course, I have to take my blocks because I can't touch the floor very well. So, come again to sitting at the edge of the chair in that seated mountain pose, seated Tadasana. Take a deep breath, inhale, and as you inhale, arch your back, lift your chest, look up a little bit, but be mindful of what's happening at your cervical spine, so you don't want to drop your head back like this. So inhale, this is a cow posture. Arch your back, lift your chest, look up. This is cow. When you exhale, you'll hold on to the tops of your knees, round your back, bring the chin to your chest, and go all the way around. Inhale, I'm even going to press on the top of my thighs as I inhale to help me lift my chest and arch my back. Exhale, round your back, chin to chest, pull the belly button to your spine. Blow all the air out. Let's do 5 more. Inhale, cow, exhale, cat. I encourage you, as always, to close your eyes. I love to practice with my eyes closed. I truly like to focus on what's happening in my body, blocking out anything that's happening outside of me right now, staying connected to my breath. Inhale, I believe this is the fourth one, doesn't really matter. Exhale, I love this posture. It doesn't do us any harm to do one more than the 5. So don't worry about counting it unless I specifically ask you to count your breath. Let me worry about that. Let's come back to seated Tadasana. Let's come back to our mountain pose. Closing your eyes, keeping them closed hopefully, to just take a moment to feel what's happening, especially in the spine. My lower back was a little tense, so I felt a little stretching but in the beginning, but now it feels much better. Remember, when you are in Tadasana, you want to continue to lengthen through the spine as you reach your crown up to the ceiling. It's a very active pose, as I said earlier. We are not relaxing. If your eyes are closed, go ahead and open them up now. I'm going to remove the blocks. I'm at the edge of the chair and now that I feel like I don't need them because my feet are firmly planted on the floor. Moving on to a side bending posture, side lateral posture. Now, we're going to get this movement in the spine of this side lateral bending. You want to imagine that you're a pendulum and you're just going to go side to side, not forward, not back, truly like a pendulum, side to side. So take a moment to make sure you're feeling rooted in the chair, you're grounded on the floor with your feet. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, laterally bend over to your right. Now you might feel a little unstable, so you can take your right hand and grab the side of the chair to help find some stability and support. You could also take your hand and place it at the seat of the chair so that you feel safe and supported. All right, let's try it on the left side. I'm going to take my left hand, place it on the leg of the chair. I like to take my opposite hand and bring it to my side. And also, if I feel like I'm going to fall, I can grab onto the seat of the chair with my right hand. Let's try that. Let's do a few dynamic movements. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, bend over to the right. Inhale. Exhale. Continue to move with your breath. If you're wondering what you should be doing with your head and your neck, it's really up to you. I like to look forward, of course, because I'm looking at the camera, but you don't have to do that. You may feel more comfortable looking down. You may feel more comfortable looking up. What you should be paying attention to, besides your breath, because you of course want to connect the breath with your movement, is you want to focus on what's happening in your spine, and your trunk, your torso. Are you truly moving side to side like a pendulum? Are your hips rooted, flat, maintaining this neutral pelvic alignment? Now let's hold it onto the right side. Now this is where you might find it become more comfortable to grab onto the seat of the chair. But if you're fine and you've got the support on the leg of the chair, maybe you want to bring your arm up by your head with the elbow bent and the hand behind your head, or even lengthen the arm and look up and stretch. 2 more breaths, please. Count your breaths. 2 more. When you're done with your breaths, bring yourself back upright. Let's go to the other side. This time we're going to hold the pose statically. Deciding what you would like to do with your hand and your arm today, what you want to do with your head and your neck. 2 more breaths, please, counting your breaths. Please don't rush through your breaths. Make them nice, deep, nourishing breaths. And begin to come back upright. Seated twist is our next posture. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist over to your right shoulder. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist over your left shoulder. Continue with this dynamic movement, connecting your breath with the movement. Every time you inhale, you come to the center. Every time you exhale, you twist over to the side. Try to make sure that the twist is coming just from the belly button up so that when you twist, you're not moving your hips off of the chair. So the movement is just going to come from the belly button up, including your cervical spine. And when you twist, bring your head back and look back over the shoulder as much as you can without any pain. Coming back to the center, now that we've done a few dynamic movements, we're going to hold it in a static movement. Over to the right side. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and twist over to the right. I'm using my left hand on the side of my leg here to help me twist a little deeper. I also have, I'm just going to move so you can see, I have my back hand holding on to the side of the chair to help me deepen into the posture. But please don't force this. If you find that you're not able to stay rooted on the chair, then don't pull and push yourself into this posture. Allow the pose to happen. Assuming you've taken at least 5 deep breaths. Inhale, come back to the center. Let's move to the left side and begin to count your breaths. 5 deep breaths. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and twist deeper if it's available to you. Remember in the beginning I asked you to honor what your body needs today. So I remind you to please do that. If it's uncomfortable for you to be looking over the shoulder, then feel free to look towards the front. After you've taken your 5 deep breaths, inhale and come back to the center. So we've gone through several movements. We've gone through seated cat-cow, we've gone through the side bending, the twisting, and now we're going to work our core a little bit in what's called a pointing dog. Make sure that your chair is not going to slip around. That's why I have my mat underneath my chair to make sure that it doesn't slip. So please make sure you're safe in that. Bend over so that you can place your hands on the chair. And this is also called, in this pose right here, tabletop. Imagining that your back is nice and flat, just like a table. So that means you're going to have to engage your abdominals, pull the belly button in so that you can maintain this flat back. If I release through the core, my back is going to arch. So there I am released. So I have to tuck in and push away from the floor. The crown of my head is reaching forward, and my tailbone is reaching back. You can have a nice slight bend to your knees. If you're finding that the chair is too low, the seat of the chair is too low for you, this is where your blocks will come in handy. If you don't have blocks, grab some towels. This time, since we're not on the floor, we're bringing the seat of the chair up to us so that we are not overextending through the hamstrings. Speaking of the hamstrings, feel free to bend the knees if you're finding that it's too deep of a stretch in your hamstrings in this posture. Once you have found the posture that you feel comfortable, when I mean comfortable, I really mean no pain. Take your right leg behind you with the toes on the floor. Moving up from that posture, if you so choose, lift the right leg up away from the floor, bending the left knee, maintaining a nice neutral alignment of the spine so your spine is neither arched nor rounded. It's flat as you can get it. Stay here if you're finding enough of a challenge in this posture, but if you need a deeper, a greater challenge, bring the left arm up by your ear. Now notice I've got the back of the chair here near me, so I could even just lightly rest my arm on the back of the chair. This is a wonderful posture for balance, for core strengthening, hip strengthening. Take another breath, see if you can reach and lengthen a little further, and then bring the opposite hand and the opposite arm down. Bend the knees, press up to standing, and just for a moment, take a breath. Pause before we move on to the second side. It might even feel good to just kind of twist side to side. And let's move on to the second side. Coming to your tabletop posture first. Put all the weight into your left hand as you bring the left foot back. Staying here if you feel this is enough for you today, otherwise lift the leg. And when you lift the leg, make sure that your hips are still facing the floor so that you haven't turned out. Deepen the challenge. Simply rest the fingertips on the seat of the chair or bring the arm up by the ear. And again, it's an active pose. So your fingertips are reaching for the wall in front of you and your toes are reaching for the wall behind you. Don't hesitate to bend your right knee a little bit to help give you some support. Take a deep breath, lengthen, reach a little further, bring the hand down and bring the foot down, bend the knees, place the hands on top of your thighs, help yourself come up to a standing position. Let's go back to the chair. Our final and my favorite posture for the day is seated Shavasana. But you are welcome to come to the mat and lie down in Shavasana. Now if you'd like, move your chair and come to a lying down Shavasana or seated Shavasana. Seated Shavasana, I would grab a towel and roll up this towel so that you can place it at your neck to support your neck when you're seated. I have my blocks, so my blocks are going to go underneath my feet. I'm going to sit all the way back so that I can rest my back. Take the towel, place it at your neck, And the towel is long enough for me that I can rest my arms at the towel. So if I turn this way, you'll see how the towel is going to support. I can relax my head, and I've got some support. Placing your hands, once again, either palms down or palms up in a receiving gesture. It is completely up to you. Close your eyes. Connect, notice, observe your breath. Notice the key words. If you'll recall, the key words that I had just said was observe, connect, notice. Not change, not control, not fix. Don't need to do any of that right now. This is our final relaxation pose for the practice. And that's what I truly would like you to do, is relax. Relax something. Are you clenching your jaw? Are you squinting and furrowing your brows? Your shoulders up by your ears. Relax something. Take notice of what's happening inside your body. I feel some wonderful energy moving through. I feel some tingling, and this is that energy that's just moving through our bodies. So take a moment to just observe that and be grateful for that. Take a moment to thank yourself. Pat yourself on the back. You've completed 30 minutes of a yoga practice, 30 minutes of dedicating to your self-care. As always, you are welcome to stay in Shavasana as long as you like. If your mind begins to wander, almost trying to tell me to hurry up, because you've got so many other things to do, try to connect to your breath so that those thoughts can just float away. There's plenty of time for you to get back to your busy world. Just take a few more moments of quiet and stillness and focus on your breath. So for the next few moments, I'm just going to be silent while you try to connect and stay with your breath. If you're ready to come out of our seated Shavasana pose, start with just bringing simple, gentle, small movements to your fingers, to your toes. Perhaps now larger movements moving through the wrists, the ankles. Start to blink your eyes open. And we have come to the end of our practice. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope to see you next time.